Hello, welcome to the Utah Division of Drinking Water's online training screencasts. This water system training is on the water system reporting tools and requirements and online tools to help you with your water system. It's going to cover the Utah Division of Drinking Water's online reports tool, as well as the DDW reports email address, and some ways that you can submit data to the Utah Division of Drinking Water. It also has a section on social media and its use in emergency management with water systems. My name is Colt Smith. I've been with the Utah Division of Drinking Water for 2 years now, and I am going to help you through this. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. My contact information is on the final slide in this presentation. Some things you're required to submit to the Division of Drinking Water include sample results, DBPs, TCRs, chems, the Consumer Confidence Report, as well as inventory changes, populations, source and facility activation, etc. These are all things that are required to be submitted to the Division of Drinking Water, by which there are many methods by which people have done it. I'm going to show the one that we generally prefer and is probably the best way for you to ensure that your information gets submitted correctly. DDW Reports was born out of the problem we'd had with people submitting data directly to a rule manager or person at DDW. If you submitted a report to the Division of Drinking Water by sending it directly to the rule manager you'd work with, say you sent a TCR sample directly to Janet Lee or a Consumer Confidence Report directly to Steve Parita. Now the problem might arise is that someone might no longer work here. And when that happens, their email address leaves and the submission that you made no longer exists with the Division of Drinking Water. For example, I mentioned Steve Parita, who no longer manages the CCR rule. I do. Now, had you submitted it directly to his personal email address, there's no guarantee that that CCR would have been able to have gotten into the Division of Drinking Water. This happened at one point where someone had been submitting and receiving a lot of data to their office email, and when they left, the email was shut down and all of the archive and everything with it was erased. Out of that was created DDW reports at utah.gov. This is a shared email address throughout the entire division where all data submissions can go and will be viewed by clerical staff and sent out and forwarded directly to the rule manager applicable for what it's going to. Emailing is the fastest way of getting your data to the Division of Drinking Water. Some people still use fax, and we still accept fax, but email is definitely our preferred method. It's going to be far more likely that the data comes in clean and clear through email. We've had problems with the faxes blacking things out, without us being able to read a cover sheet, without knowing what the data is. A couple of things to keep in mind if you're submitting information to DDW reports is that DDW reports first goes to clerical staff who review the email and forward it on. And in order to help them do that more efficiently and get it to the correct place, please clearly indicate the type of information you're sending in the subject line of the email. If it's a DBP sample, put DBP. If it's a CCR, put CCR. If it's an inventory or population change, simply put that as such in the subject line of the email. Send each type of data as its own email and labeled in the subject line. Now I know this is not necessarily easy for you because it requires sending multiple emails for different data, but it helps us make sure that something doesn't get lost and that the information is forwarded to the correct person. As stated before, do not send information directly to a contact person at the Division of Drinking Water. If you have a specific question, it's great to contact us directly through our email or through our voicemail, but don't send it directly to us if it's an official change or something, a sample result to this. I think it's a great idea to add a CC to the email. If you were sending a CCR to me, for example, send it to DDW reports first, but go ahead and put me as a CC on that so that I see that it comes through. Don't trust the lab to submit your data for you. Labs are fallible, and we really encourage labs to submit data electronically, and most of them do a great job. We're currently working on expanding the methods by which labs are able to submit data to the Division of Drinking Water, but labs still make mistakes. Files get corrupted, things get formatted incorrectly. Don't trust that the lab has necessarily sent it. It's incumbent upon you to check and make sure that that data has been sent to us. The Division of Drinking Water doesn't regulate labs. We regulate water systems. We don't issue violations to labs for failing to submit data. We issue violations to water systems for failing to submit data. You can verify online with the Division's online reports tool how many or how recent the data has and make sure that your samples have gotten to us. The online reports tool is something pretty advanced. What we actually do is we allow you to look at the reports we use in making regulatory decisions and our way of keeping track of water systems. It pulls from our database and is updated daily to show as most accurate and real-time information as we can possibly provide. What you'll do is you'll first visit the Utah Division of Drinking Water.utah. You'll visit our website, which is Utah Division of Drinking Water, but you'll go to www.drinkingwater.utah.gov. You'll scroll over onto the toolbar on the left-hand side of the page and click on the Online Reports tab. That will take you to this screen. Now, the first time visiting, you'll have to click Register Here, and that will allow you to set up an email account, and there will be a separate screencast helping you do that if you're unable to do that or you're not familiar with computers and want some help talking through how that's going to go. If you've already registered an account, you'll be required to simply put in the email or your username and then enter your password to log in. If this screen doesn't populate each time you visit the Division of Drinking Water, or you don't see this, it takes you directly to the screen following this, there's a problem, and I'll talk about the problems that we have a little bit later on in the screencast. It'll bring up this page. So you've entered in your email address and your password, and it's going to bring up this page. This is our search page. And you can see this text box here next to the red arrow, and that'll allow you to search on any number of criteria to find your water system. You can search by your system number, your system name, even the principal city served in order to bring up your respective online reports. In the example, I simply typed in Utah, which is going to bring up every system's number in numerological order, starting with Beaver, which is Utah 01001. When that's going to populate, if I put in just Utah 01001, it would have just brought up Beaver City Water System. See where the arrow that says Click View? You'll click on that little View link right there, and that'll bring up the list of all the reports that are available for your system. This has quite a few, and the ones that we've deemed most essential for maintaining approved status and maintaining compliance. Your first report list is going to be an inventory report. This is going to list all the facilities in your system that we have record of and their status as active or inactive. It's going to list all of your monitoring schedule. This is going to allow you to go in and look and see what the most recent sample the Division of Drinking Water has received, as well as the samples that you're required to submit and ones we have yet to receive. So you're going to be able to at any time see the samples you're required to do and make sure that we receive, for example, your yearly nitrate sample or your monthly or quarterly TCR sample. The next one is the IPS water system report. This is a unique to Utah rule that allows you to check and see your points and your approved status as regulated by the Utah Division of Drinking Water. It's going to allow you to go ahead and take a look at any significant deficiencies that we have, the results of your most recent sanitary survey, and where you stand with us as far as your physical and monitoring violations and deficiencies. The next is the Consumer Confidence Report Composite. This will generate the data needed to create a CCR report. This is a module we've been having some trouble with. It runs on a little bit different system, and getting it to work and play nicely with our firewalls is sort of in flux. Continue to check for that. And check back with the website to see if it's working. As of now, it is not. It's up and down periodically, though. There's a TCR summary, or total coliform results summary. This is going to list all of your TCRs, your E. coli, and your fecal coliform samples, and whether or not we had presence or detect. It's going to show you any missed samples, and it's going to show you the required follow-up samples that you were required to take as a result of a positive sample. It's going to have an operator screen. This is going to show the current operators that are attached to your system. It's going to show their continuing education units, their certification grade, and the expiration date. This doesn't allow you to search based on operators, so you'd have to look at the system and look and see where your current CEUs stand. It's also going to show you if there's any operators or people attached to your system that maybe shouldn't be. We've had some issues where we've had operators who are no longer with a system, and we like to keep that inventory clean. There's a couple of common problems that occur with the online reports. This is actually going to be taking you behind the Utah Division of Drinking Waters and the state's firewalls. It's going to take you behind some of our security in a very controlled manner and very limited method, but that does create some problems. It's going to periodically, you're going to have to clear your browser's cache, your web browser's cache. What will happen is that your web browser will look at something that's called a cached view of a page. That's not a real-time page. It's a copy of the page that the browser has saved. What will happen is that you'll go in and you'll put in you won't be able to put in your password. It won't give you that screen. And then when you try to search on a system, it won't populate that available reports. It won't show you the systems that are available when you based on the search criteria you put in. It's a simple problem to fix. You can simply clear your browser's cache if you know how to do that. If you need my help doing it, you can contact me, but I'll need to know the browser that you're using, which is Firefox, Chrome, Safari, Internet Explorer, Opera, etc. You'll need to know the version. That's really helpful to me if I know the version of the browser that you're operating. If you don't want to contact me and you want to try and tackle it on your own, simply Google how to clear my browser's cache, how to clear Firefox cache, how to clear Internet Explorer cache. There's a large amount of walkthroughs with great screenshots that you can look at and walk through on clearing your browser's cache. There are some firewall issues that have occurred. We've noticed this mostly happens with local health departments that have their own firewalls, their own securities in place, or larger water systems that have a lot of security in place, and the two firewalls don't play well together. This mostly has to be solved on the user end. Luckily, every instance that it's happened thus far has occurred at a local health department or a large enough system that they have IT staff in place, but we can contact them and talk through some of the problems that they've had. As far as forgotten passwords go, there is a recover password link on the login page. This will allow you to go ahead and bring up prompt you with some questions when you create your account that you'll need to remember in order to recover your password. If that fails, you'll have to contact the Department of Technology Services IT help desk. They maintain all of the passwords and all of that information. We don't have access to it. You can contact me and I can get you their contact information. Moving on to social media and water systems. This is really born out of this past year, Hurricane Sandy, and I watched how some of the water systems were using it in the eastern coast to deal with an emergency. Social media is one of the fastest growing segments of the internet population. Facebook's one of the most visited web pages on all of the internet. Nearly everyone has it. It's how you use it and some of the practical advantages beyond simple time wasting that I think is worth noting here. One of the first ones to talk about is Twitter. Twitter is a 140 character limit. It uses something called a hashtag. A hashtag uses the pound symbol to make readily identifiable searches for people. And I'll show some examples of this because it probably doesn't sound very clear without seeing it illustrated. But it helps create webs and groupings together of individual tweets. Twitter's simple, it's very quick, it allows for two-way interaction between people. It allows you to see trends by region. You're able to see what people are tweeting about in your individual region. For Utah, the most prominent one is going to be Salt Lake City. It's going to allow you to look and see what people in Salt Lake City are tweeting about. It has a feature called retweet, where someone viewing your tweet can then share it with their followers and pass it on and so on and so on and so on. Think of it as the equivalent of a modern-day gossip chain. This does not count as public notice per EPA or Division of Drinking Water rules. However, we'll show some examples later on of where systems have used this very effectively as a part of their public notice strategy. Examples of Twitter used during Hurricane Sandy. Chris Christie is the governor of New Jersey during Hurricane Sandy, and he posted during the emergency, for information on water treatment systems in New Jersey that remain under boil advisories, please visit and post the link. Customers with questions about water should contact Middlesex Water Company provides the phone number and a link. And then he's able to put that a boil advisory that had previously been issued for 233,000 customers of Middlesex Water Company in 8 municipalities in Middlesex and Union counties had been lifted. These all went out, and if you can see that timestamp in that upper right-hand corner there, it says 8 minutes ago. These all went out within a minute of each other. He was able to reach Governor Christie has in the neighborhood of multi-million followers, and this was all able to go out in that short amount of time and reach those people. It's worth noting as well that while some traditional phone service and television had been out, people were still able to reach the data links through their mobile phones and able to receive news information and updates through Twitter. I spend a lot of time on the East Coast in my life and have lived there, and have a lot of family and friends in New York and New Jersey who were there during Hurricane Sandy. I personally was following Twitter to get my source of what was going on and trying to keep up to date with what was happening in the regions they were in. I noticed that as I was doing this, I was watching news programs on my television, cable news, and what was happening was the cable news programs were posting the tweets that I had already seen 20 minutes ago as news on their program. Twitter seemed to be far, far ahead of traditional news gathering organizations. A couple of examples here. We have another screenshot of Governor Christie stating that a boil advisory for Atlantic City had been cleared, and you can see that little blue hashtag, the pound sign next to Sandy. That's showing that that's creating that hashtag that creates searchable media. If I were to click on that link during that time, it would have brought up everything that everybody was searching on based on Sandy and related to Sandy. The New York City Mayor's Office put one here that said, if you have water coming out of your faucet, it's safe to drink, hashtag Sandy. In a time when public panic could have been at an all-time high, being able to see that the water coming out of your faucet and having the New York City's Mayor's Office be that confident in its drinking water to put that out there has a great reassurance for people. That's one of the first things people are going to panic about in an emergency is whether or not they're able to get water. And being able to know that the water coming out of their tap is safe will be incredibly reassuring and a great way for the New York City Mayor's Office to communicate that to the citizens of New York City. We can see the second outlined red box there, the New York City Mayor's Office. We've tested New York City drinking water and it's completely safe, hashtag Sandy. You can see over on the left-hand side of the screen there, under the Salt Lake City trends, hashtag Sandy is trending in Salt Lake City. Right above that is the Miguel Blumbito tweet. That's at the top of your screen in the red box. Time Magazine named 2012 the year of the parody Twitter account, something that sort of spawns these fake accounts that parody or mimic or mock what's actually happening in the world. Mayor Bloomberg gave an absolutely atrocious news conference speaking in the worst Spanish humanly possible. And out of that was born the parody Twitter account of Mayor Bloomberg called Miguel Blumbito. And his Twitter reads, Yo put extra chlorine en el agua del tapo, pero esta se fiero tu drinko y eswimel. Comedy is sort of born out of this, but there is the parody account likewise tweeting and mimicking and still passing on in a humorous sort of Saturday Night Live style fashion that water is safe to drink. We can see here the New York City Office of Emergency Management tweeting that Mayor Bloomberg, we have tested New York City drinking water, it's completely safe to drink. I personally, and this is my personal Twitter account, do not follow the New York City Emergency Management Office of Emergency Management. But someone I do follow, a Twitter comedian named Rob Delaney, does. He retweeted their status, and because I follow him, he passed that on to me, and I was able to see that information. I'd already gotten it, and it was repetitive to me and didn't really apply to me directly, but it's a nice way of showing how that retweet function allows people to maintain and pass on information. Facebook, most people are pretty familiar with Facebook. It's very popular, almost everyone has it. Facebook allows you to post longer statuses and information. It's going to not hold you to that 140 character limit. It's a good place for citizens to post questions and answers during an emergency. The summer of 2012, there was a large number of fires. Lots of communities around the Salt Lake Valley and around the fire-affected areas were able to post on their city's Facebook page information such as turn off your hoses, turn off your faucets, please limit your water usage. We're trying to create enough pressure to help fight fires. It was a free way for them to disseminate information. Likewise, I had a personal experience where a friend of mine was evacuated from Eagle Mountain, and during the evacuation of Eagle Mountain due to the fire, they lost their dog. They went on to the Eagle Mountain Facebook page and posted, "We've lost our dog during this fire. Has anybody seen it?" And posted a photo of the dog and a description. Someone who they had never met said, "Yes, we just saw your dog. We were evacuated. We saw your dog at Walmart. We'll hold on to him. You can come pick us up there." They weren't able to go back in and look for their dog personally because of the evacuation, but they were able to recover it through use of social media. Really, for both Facebook and Twitter, you need to have an active presence for this to work. People aren't going to be paying attention, people aren't going to follow, people aren't going to subscribe to you if you're not actively participating and putting things out there. It's a great way for citizens to ask questions. During the summer of 2012, or during the winter of 2012, I'm sorry, Hurricane City in southern Utah posted a link relating to they were required to submit a public notice as per EPA rules. And as I already stated, this doesn't meet the requirements for public notice, but Hurricane City went ahead and posted on the Hurricane City Facebook page. Our water system recently violated the drinking water standards. Although this is not an emergency, as our customers, you have a right to know what happened, what you do, and what we are doing to correct this situation. Per state law, the Water Department is providing this notice to the public. Download the full notice here. Likewise with a quick link that would allow them to download the water notice. This is a great way for them to get ahead of the story and allow them to reassure and communicate with their public about what was happening with the drinking water at that time. I grew up in southern Utah, and I had a number of friends who saw it and were able to contact me and ask me personally questions, and only created a few excited text messages during that time. You can see in the bottom right-hand corner of the screenshot the number 4 with a little upturned page. That's showing the number of people who shared Hurricane City's status. I blocked out the people who did it, who were just individual citizens, but others that were publicly held pages. This is what they put out about there, and this allowed them to share it. I had a friend who I contacted at the Daily Spectrum who talked about how they actually found out about this story from Hurricane City's Facebook page. It allowed Hurricane City to stay ahead of the press and recall them and make sure that they maintained and were safe and were ahead of the story when they had a violation that required public notice. It helped save off any panic and probably helped save some questions and phone calls from concerned citizens. Congressman Jim Matheson has a Facebook page, as do most elected officials. And in this one is him actually meeting with the Utah Rural Water Association. He posted that I met with the Utah Rural Water Association and had a chance to try Utah's best tasting water of 2012. Underneath that, a citizen asked, "And how was it? Is it really the best tasting? Where did it come from?" Posted a number of questions. Representative Matheson was able to put back, "It was great. It came from Vernal this year." He was able to post to talk about his interaction with the Utah Rural Water. I know that the Rural Water Association likewise has a Facebook and a Twitter account. I would suggest if you do have a Facebook and Twitter account to follow them and participate with them. If you have any questions on social media and any help or need any help with that, you can feel free to contact me at coltsmith@acsmith@utah.gov or call me at 801-536-4155. If you have problems or concerns with your online reports, likewise feel free to contact me. If you have any questions, please feel free to give us a call at any time. Thank you for listening, and good luck on the quiz to receive your CEUs.